One of the ELA standards that starts in first grade and goes all the way through 12th grade is the teaching of theme. And for the last several weeks, I've worked with many different staffs trying to tackle this standard, trying to make it specific and explicit for students. And so let me share with you kind of the three facets, the three steps that I would put in my introductory lessons about theme. Again, regardless if they're 5 years old or 15 years old, kids need this lesson. So the first thing I would do is define theme, and you're already doing that. It is a lesson, right? A lesson the author's trying to teach the reader, a message he's giving me about how to be a better person, about how to survive in life. The second thing I would do is honor that most texts don't come right out and give you the theme. The author doesn't state it in the text. He implies it. He doesn't tell you the theme. He teaches it through character choices and actions, decisions, and how they grow and change. Okay, again, I know you're doing step 2. Now we move on to step 3. And I think step 3 really honors what many of us talk about, and that is that kids lack background knowledge in general. Well, they really lack background knowledge when it comes to the work on theme. Step 3 is addressing their lack of background knowledge by actually just giving them examples. Just tell them examples of life lessons, of lesson topics. Their background knowledge backpacks are pretty empty on this topic. So let's spend some time initially just giving them themes. And I would do this by starting with the 3 main categories a theme might fall under. All right. It might be lessons about me. The author's trying to teach me a lesson, or lessons about others, my relationship with other people, or lessons just about life. It's not specific to me or specific to a relationship. This is everybody goes through this. Everybody has to learn this. Growing up includes this. Those kinds of categories, I think, are really going to help kids start to recognize what's happening to this character. And is it a personal growth, a relational growth, or just a maturing in growth? All right, then after that, I would start to feed them actual lesson topics within each of these categories. Yeah, again, remember, they lack the background knowledge, so do something. Just give them some examples. On the chart that I've included here, examples of lessons about me might be believe in yourself or value yourself. Lessons about others might be kind to others, value each other's differences. Lessons about life, the game of life, right, is choices have consequences. Change can be good. Bad things happen to everyone. Life's just not fair. So the idea is that in step 3 of your initial lesson, you start to tell kids themes fall under these categories, and here are some examples. Now, wait, I'm not giving you this chart to say, here's the list, because you can definitely add to this list. It's a starter list. But more importantly, this is a teacher resource. I think you use this resource to then look at all the texts you've read with your students, the texts you know they all read previous years. We need to tie lesson topics to texts they're familiar with so they can start to say, yeah, I see that now. A lesson topic just by itself, a list of those, isn't helpful until I can pair it with a character who learned that lesson. Now, my background knowledge is being built. So don't just pass this list out. Build it with your students. Build it on a bulletin board, primary, different kinds of lessons characters have learned. Put a photocopy of the cover of the picture book you read so that they can really start to pair the lesson with a character. If you're a digital or virtual teacher, then grab screen grabs or snips of the book covers from Amazon and put those with the different lesson topics. Hey, be sure that some of the texts you pair aren't just ones you've read. Really broaden what you're pulling from. Fairy tales you know they know. Songs you know they know. Movies you know they know. All of these have themes. So when you're making your list with students, really be conscious of giving them lesson topics that fit with actual texts you're going to be reading this year. Add to my list with ones that you're going to be teaching. The secret to teaching theme is to first fill their background knowledge backpacks with lesson topics tied to